Okay, our live video is starting. I'm just making sure it gets well connected. And let me double check so that I can see comments if they come in. Welcome, everybody. I'm so glad you're here at Homeschool with Maggie O, your homeschool mentor. And as promised, I hope some of you are here live. If you're not able to catch it live, you'll be able to catch it in here in this group for replay. So today we're beginning a new part of our curriculum series, as I promised, and I am really excited about this because we're going to start getting very specific. We've talked about homeschool philosophies. We've talked about the fact that there is no single best curriculum for every homeschool family. And now we're going to start taking that information that we've been covering and discussing and actually applying it to individual subjects and individual curriculum choices. And I'm going to have this live each time that we're talking about a subject and kind of doing some review live like this. And then what I'm going to do is go in through Zoom so that I can share my screen and go inside actual curriculums for you. And so today we're starting with math. Why the best math curriculum is the one that fits your learner. And if you see me looking over at different screens, I'm just simply making sure that I can see any comments as they come in and that I can see that we are, in fact, live. All righty. So it looks like everything is going well and we are connected. So following this live, like I talked about, we're going to begin individual curriculum reviews where I actually take you inside different options for math and show you what they look like, explain how they teach, and help you understand what types of learners and homeschool families they may fit best. That's really the question, like we've talked about before, that we need to be asking. Because the question that I often hear is, what is the best math curriculum? And my answer is always going to be the best math curriculum is the one that fits your child and your family. A curriculum can absolutely be wonderful and still be completely wrong for your child. And a curriculum that one family loves or that you hear about in the Facebook group, maybe the curriculum another family is not having success with. And it doesn't mean either family is wrong. It just usually means that the fit is different. And that's the angle that we're coming at this from. So today, before I start taking you inside specific math programs, I want to give you a framework for understanding what we're actually looking for. The first part of this is, how does your child learn? And we've talked about this a little bit. The first thing I want you to think about is your learner, not the curriculum, not what your friend uses, not what the homeschool Facebook group says everyone should be using, but I want you to think about your child. And how does your child learn best? Do they need to see something? Do they need to touch and manipulate something? Do they learn well by listening? Do they need repetition? Or do they become bored with repetition? Do they need shorter lessons? Can they work independently? Or do they need you sitting right there beside them? These questions matter tremendously when we're choosing math. So let's discuss and look at a few examples. Let's talk first about the visual learner. The visual learner may benefit from seeing math concepts represented in a very concrete way, such as they may respond well like to colors and diagrams, number lines, visual models, demonstrations, video instruction. Programs such as Math-U-See may appeal to visual learners because students can actually see mathematical concepts demonstrated using manipulatives. Okay. And there does seem to be quite a delay. So if you have asked a question or a comment, I may be delayed in seeing it. I'm just letting you know. I've got a couple of devices up so that I can watch it from different angles, but that's just part of the joys of doing live in Facebook. Another math curriculum, the Singapore math, also uses strong visual modeling to help children understand mathematical relationships. And video based programs can be helpful for some visual learners because they can watch someone work through the problem rather than simply reading instructions from a textbook. But here's something really important: just because something is online doesn't automatically make it a good fit for every visual learner. We still have to look at how the material is actually being taught. Now consider the hands-on or the kinesthetic learner. Some children need to actually like do the math before math makes sense to them. They often are the kids who struggle when we hand them a worksheet filled with 30 problems and say, "There you go." No, they may understand the concept much better when they can physically build it, move it, touch it, see it happening. For these learners, programs with manipulatives may be especially helpful. Matthew C. is one example. Right Start Mathematics is another program known for using hands-on tools and mathematical games. For a child who needs interaction and movement, sitting in front of a computer for every math lesson may not be the best fit. Um, Even if that computer program is an excellent curriculum, again, we're looking at fit. That's what we're going for right now. So now consider an auditory learner. Some children learn extremely well just simply by hearing concepts explained. They may talk themselves through the math problems. They may remember something because they heard the teacher say it. They may benefit from video instruction, verbal explanations, songs, rhymes, or talking through the steps with a parent. A strong teacher led video program may work beautifully for some of these learners. Teaching textbooks and C2C math, which is a fully online math curriculum rather than a traditional textbook program, are examples of programs that provide instructional teaching rather than simply handing the student a textbook and expecting them to figure out everything independently. But auditory learners may also benefit from simply having the freedom to talk through the math. Sometimes the curriculum doesn't have to do everything. We can adapt how we use it, and that's an important part of homeschooling, isn't it? The next thing I want you to consider is, does your child need mastery or spiral? And you're thinking, okay, what does she mean by that? And this is one of the biggest differences that you'll see between math programs. Some curricula use more of a mastery approach. That means that the student spends more concentrated time developing a skill before they move to the next concept. Other programs use a spiral approach, and what I mean by that is that the concepts are introduced and then revisited repeatedly over time to kind of make it more concrete for that type of learner. And neither approach is automatically better. The question is, which approach works better for your learner? Some children need the repetition, especially in math, and they need to see the multiplication again tomorrow, next week, next month, and a spiral curriculum may work beautifully for them. Other children become incredibly frustrated when they feel like they're constantly jumping from one concept to another. They want to understand something thoroughly before moving on. They may prefer a mastery style approach. With math, I will say I feel like these two also concepts can be blended, um, because I feel like even though something can build on itself, you still want to also have that ability to review what we've already covered, just as a refresher, if nothing else. It's often helpful with math. This is one reason two families can have completely opposite opinions about the exact same math curriculum. One parent may say, my child absolutely loves this one, and another will say, that was a disaster for us. And both experiences can be completely valid because the children are different. How much parent involvement do you want? Now we need to talk about something that sometimes gets overlooked when choosing curriculum, and that is you, the parent. Because curriculum doesn't have to only fit the child, it also needs to fit the homeschool. And how much time do you realistically have available to teach math? Do you love teaching math, or does the thought of teaching algebra make you want to hide? Do you have one child, or are you homeschooling four children at four different grade levels? Do you need something your child can do primarily independently, or do you want math to be something that y'all work on together? These are really important questions. A curriculum that requires significant parent involvement may be wonderful. But if you are homeschooling multiple children, perhaps you're running a business, you're caring for family members, or simply know that you need more independence in your homeschool day, it may not be wonderful for you, the parent, in your homeschool environment, your routine, your rhythm. And that's okay. There are programs designed to help provide more instructional support so that that heavy lifting isn't left to you alone. Teaching textbooks, CTC math, and other online options can give students more independence. Other programs are designed around more direct parent instruction. Neither is wrong, but we have to be honest about what we can realistically sustain in our homeschool, because the curriculum that you can actually use consistently is going to serve your family better than the perfect curriculum sitting untouched on a shelf. Next, we're going to blend in our discussion about what your homeschool philosophy is. This is where everything that we've been talking about previously um, is really starting in this curriculum series. It's starting to come together, which is really exciting. And it's exciting for me too. Your homeschool philosophy can also influence what kind of math curriculum feels natural in your home. A family that prefers a very traditional school at home approach may feel comfortable with structured textbooks, clear lessons, tests, a regular review. The teacher's manual is right there with them at the same time. A classical homeschool family may prioritize strong foundational skills, logical progression, mental math, and mathematical reasoning. A Charlotte Mason inspired family may prefer shorter lessons, a little bit more gentle, and may be cautious about excessive repetitive busy work. An eclectic homeschool family may find and may use a blend of mix and match. They may use one curriculum as the foundation and supplement with math games or manipulatives or videos or online resources. And an unschooling family may approach math through real world experiences and practical application rather than following a traditional math textbook from beginning to end. And this is why I don't want you choosing curriculum based solely on the words first grade or fifth grade on the cover. We need to really look a little bit deeper. And then we need to also consider, what about unique learners? We've had a little bit of talk about this before, and this is especially important. If you have a child with dyslexia, or like dyscalculia, ADHD, autism, giftedness, processing differences, or any other kind of unique learning need, we need to look at curriculum through that lens. For example, how visually cluttered is the page? How long is the lesson? How much writing is required? How much repetition is built in? Can the lesson be broken into smaller pieces? Can the student move at their own pace? Is there an audio or video component? Does the program require a lot of independent reading? Can you adjust the level? Can you slow down without the child feeling like they're constantly behind? These things matter. These are really important considerations. And I want to be very clear about something throughout this entire series. I am never going to tell you that one curriculum is automatically the perfect curriculum for every child with ADHD or every child with dyslexia or every visual learner. Children are much more complex than one label. So just remember that. What I can do is show you the features of a curriculum and explain why those features may be helpful or challenging for certain types of learners. Then you, the parent, can make more informed decision for the child that you have actually sitting right in front of you. So as we continue this series, I'm going to take you inside a variety of math programs. We'll look at options such as Math UC, teaching textbooks, Saxon math, Singapore math, the good and the beautiful math, master books math, Right Start Mathematics, Beast Academy, Math Mammoth, CTC math, and potentially others as we continue. Now, I'm not going to just simply tell you whether I think a curriculum is good or bad. I'm not going to do that. It's just not helpful for you. Instead, we're going to ask the questions, what does this curriculum actually look like? How does it teach? Is it a mastery or spiral like we talked about a minute ago? How much parent involvement does it require? How independent can the student be? Is it textbook based? If it is it online based, video based, hands on? How much repetition is involved? What kind of learner might appreciate this approach? What kind of learner might struggle with it? What homeschool philosophies might naturally align with it? What should parents know before spending their money? That is where and what we're going to look at. Because my goal is not to choose your curriculum for you. My goal is to teach you how to choose curriculum confidently for yourself, your learner, and your homeschool environment and your rhythm at home. Let's also quickly discuss something that I call the 5-point curriculum fit check. So as you watch these upcoming reviews on math or any of the curriculums, I want you to remember these 5 things. Number 1, your child's learning style and their needs. How does this child actually learn? Number 2, the teaching approach of the curriculum. Does the way this curriculum teaches match the way that your child processes information? Number 3, your homeschool philosophy. Does this curriculum fit the kind of homeschool you're trying to create? Number 4, your family lifestyle. Do you have the time and the energy, the technology, budget, and parent availability this curriculum requires? And number 5, your child's response. This one matters most of all because you can do all the research in the world, and sometimes a curriculum simply doesn't click with a particular child. That doesn't mean that you failed. It doesn't mean your child failed. It doesn't necessarily mean that the curriculum failed. It may simply mean the fit wasn't right. And this is one of the biggest and greatest advantages that we have as homeschoolers is the ability to recognize that and make the adjustment. If you have followed me long enough, and if you're new here, welcome. You'll hear me say this, and I'm going to say it now. Don't ever feel like you have to be loyal to any curriculum. When you start to recognize a struggle like that, and if you're seeing that pattern, pivot and don't be loyal and think I can't make a change. Even if it's midstream in the year or in your school pattern, don't worry about that, because the reality is if you go ahead and do a little research and you're like, okay, I'm starting to notice some things, we need to go more this direction instead. If you make that change, then you're going to save yourself countless headaches and just the productivity and the learning that happens if you try to struggle through something that's not working for either one of you. It's just not productive and it doesn't serve the learner or you. So don't be afraid to make a change. And I'm speaking that from experience. There were times I had to do that in my 20 years of homeschooling, and that is okay, perfectly okay. It will serve both of you better. If you recognize something like that and you need to pivot, it's okay. So before you buy any math curriculum, I want you to first look for sample lessons. And when I do the reviews, we will also be looking at this as well. Don't just look at the beautiful cover. Actually, let's look inside it. Second, watch demonstrations if they're available. Third, look at placement tests. Do not automatically assume that your child needs the curriculum level that matches their traditional grade level. Different curriculum companies sequence math differently, and this is actually very important. Fourth, think about your child's actual needs. And I want to back up just a minute too on that last one. The sequencing that different companies utilize when they're doing math. If you do have to pivot and change, again, if you can go in and find an assessment for something different, do that. It'll help you understand in this particular curricula, math curricula, where do I need to begin, considering where we are, and that's really helpful if you can get those. Four, think about your child's actual needs, and finally ask yourself, can I realistically see us using this curriculum on a Tuesday morning in February? You're like, what do you mean by that? I don't mean opening the box, let's say in August, if you're if you kind of follow the public system, or whenever your school year begins and you've opened the box and it's all new and everybody's excited and we can't wait to begin. Not then. I'm talking about in February, that far away. Like, so if you started in August, we're months out from that. When you've been homeschooling for months, when everyone is tired and the new curriculum smell is worn off, can this curriculum actually work in your real life? That's the curriculum that we want. If your answer to that is yes, that's the one we want. So, in closing, as we begin this new part of our curriculum series, I want you to stop asking, what is the best math curriculum? And instead, start to ask, what math curriculum is the best fit for my child and for me as the educator and for our homeschool? This is a completely different question, and it's a much better one, and the results will be better. In the upcoming videos, I'm going to start taking you inside individual math curricula so you can actually see them. We're going to look at teaching style, learning approach, parental involvement, independence level, the philosophy, and to see if the homeschool philosophies align with any of them that we're looking at. Learning who may thrive with it, which learners who may thrive with it, the learners who may struggle or need something different. My goal is that by the time you work through this series, you're not just going to have a list of curriculum recommendations. You're going to understand why you might choose one curriculum over another. And that is how you become confident in your homeschool decisions. Remember, you don't need the curriculum everyone else is using. You need the curriculum that helps your child learn. And sometimes finding that fit takes a little experimentation, and that's okay. That's part of homeschooling. So I'll see you inside our first individual math curriculum review. I look forward to it. Happy homeschooling. See you soon.